It's always an honor to have these commencements on Friday night, and this is, I've been here 3.5 years, and this is the largest group that I've ever seen. I've seen 8, but I don't think that we've had 11, and that certainly is a testament to not only their hard work and their taking of the steps and continuing to do so, but the Owl's Nest itself, the staff, alumni, affiliates, and fellow residents. You know, much of their recovery comes from each other, not from us as staff. But I just wanted to say a couple of words, and then we'll move on with the commencements. About 6 years ago, there was a group of men, which included Mr. Phil Shaw and Steve Shaw, our founder, and some other gentlemen in the Florence area who banded together and realized the need for a recovery community. Sometime back in the late 60s or early 70s, AA as a whole began to become what we call watered down. And there were many reasons for that. Judges sending a guy that just happened to get drunk on a weekend. He wasn't even a drinker. He got a DUI, so the judge sends him to AA. I could go on different reasons. But these gentlemen realized the need here in Florence for a recovery community, but more importantly, back to the basics, if you will, back to the book. The way that the message was carried back in the 30s when Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob and Alcoholics number 3, Bill Dodson, got sober and began to carry the message. And of course they published the book in 1930, late 38 or early 39. But since that time, since I've been here in a short period, we've worked with well over, I'd say, 1,200 people in the 3.5 years. In the 6 years, I don't even know the numbers, in the thousands, that's for sure. And at least 2,000 people are sober and in sobriety. In sobriety, know what I said, not just sober. And that's due to the fact that the mission of the Owl's Nest was in the beginning, is today, and will always be to carry the true message from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the message is very simply this: having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. And that's what takes place. And I'm going to define a spiritual awakening for you, because we have families here. And we have some new people that have only been here a number of days. And a spiritual awakening is a vast change in feeling and outlook, which develops slowly over a period of time. The process of the 12-step program from the book. And what it really means, the end result, or the bottom line, is a personality change. A personality change sufficient to bring about recovery. And I just want to read two things out of the book for you. I could quote them, but I'm not into all that self-seeking, and then I might misquote words, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. So this pretty much sums it up, if you will. The great fact is just this and nothing less: that we have deep and effective spiritual experiences or spiritual awakening, which has revolutionized our whole attitude towards life, toward our fellows, and towards God's universe. The central fact of our lives today is the absolute certainty that our Creator has entered into our hearts and commenced to accomplish, and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous. He has commenced to accomplish those things for us which we could not do for ourselves, like being restored with your family. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovered alcoholic. My My daughter didn't speak to me for 7 years. I came here. And after 2 years of sobriety, well, now things are better than ever. My son, the last time he saw me, he went the other way. He saw me, he looked at me in my eyes and turned around and went the other way. A month ago, he asked me to be the best man in his wedding. These are the kind of restorations that God and only God can bring about. But it requires work on our part. We always say that God does the work, but we have to do the footwork. We take the steps. We do not work. God does the work. If you work in the steps, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. You better leave the work to God. But anyway, I'm not going to I teach classes all the time, and I won't get into all that. But I want to read one more thing about those personality changes. And they can only be brought about through a power greater than ourselves. You see, the disease of alcoholism and addiction is a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the main purpose is to show us, the newly recovering alcoholic or addict, how they recovered in the 30s. What did they do? Their experience, years of working together, of learning, of making mistakes, trial and error, and then putting it down into a book. They learned from experience. They didn't have a book to go by. Thank God for the founding fathers in that respect. But what it really does, this spiritual awakening, which is brought about as a result of the steps. And I just want to read this, and this is a little more than what I call a layman's terms. We have a famous doctor talking to an alcoholic, which was instrumental in the solution. You see, I said earlier, seemingly state of mind and body, because it seems like it's hopeless. As I sat in my backyard crying, tears streaming down my face, all of my education, all of the things that I had, and nothing could help me. Nothing. I'd read 1,000 books. I'm a teacher. I'm a coach. But I'd never read the book. And in any event, so I came here and read that. But there is a solution. It just seems to be hopeless. They have given us specific, precise, clear-cut instructions on how to recover. And a continued program of action that we use on a daily basis to sustain and grow that recovery. She read earlier, rarely have we seen a person fail who has followed our path. No one's ever failed that followed it. No one. The problem is when we get off of that path, then the mental obsession or the seeming state of mind returns and drink or drug returns. Anyway, last thing, and we're going to move on. The doctor, a famous doctor in Switzerland, is telling a very wealthy banker from New England that the doctor, the man asked him, is there anything I can do? Is there no exception, doctor? The doctor's just told him that, hey, you can't. I can't figure it out. He said, there is no help for you. He said, there's no help for you. You're the far advanced, hopeless alcoholic and addict, just like me. And the man replied, is there no exception? And the doctor says, yes, there is. Exceptions to cases such as yours have been occurring since early times, here and there. Once in a while, alcoholics and addicts have had what are called vital spiritual experiences or spiritual awakenings. To me, these occurrences are phenomena. And here's what it really is, y'all. If we get down to layman's understanding, the spiritual solution This is what the spiritual solution brings about. And the power greater than ourselves, which we call the God of our understanding. And this is exactly what took place in my life. They appear to be in the nature of huge emotional displacements and rearrangements. Ideas, emotions, and attitudes which were once the guiding forces of our lives are suddenly cast to one side, and a completely new set of conceptions and motives begin to dominate us. I used to be the most dishonest man in South Carolina. Today I am honest. I used to unquestionably be the most selfish. On my father's deathbed, I wished he died so I could inherit my money sooner. That is the epitome of selfishness. That's how selfish I was, and believe me, these people are in the same class with me. Some of them don't know it yet. But when I did through what we did through with it. In any event, these changes take place because today a power greater than me. It's not me. I'm not up here bragging. It is a power greater than me that works through me, called God, whom I choose to call God, whom you can call whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you know it's a power greater than you. And as long as we continue to follow these things, then this personality change, which has been brought about through the 12-step program, was and will be sufficient to continue recovery. And that's it in a nutshell. It really is. It is truly a power greater than us. And as I said, the forefathers were very, very wise in keeping it a spiritual program, because people of all religions all over the world are in Alcoholics Anonymous. And they're careful not to step on those toes. So it's the God of your understanding, and religion is not a part of the program. It is a spiritual program. Now, I just want to add for those religious persons, there's no question that spirituality and religion can go like that. Okay? But we have to maintain the spirituality of the program. And as long as we sustain and grow the solution, the spiritual aspect of our lives, I have permanent recovery. Now, note how I said that, and then we're going to start. As long as, there's the stipulation, as long as I continue to follow the program of action and the continued program of action on a daily basis, I have permanent recovery. I'll be at my son and daughter's weddings and drinking a Coke. And one of my family for 32 years has seen me drink nothing but you know what. So these are the blessings, you know, and look around you. Families are restored. God is the great restorer, you know. And it's only when we seek Him that He does not make too hard terms for us, for Him to help us. Okay, let's begin.